My why was my kids, right? My wife was my no choice. I didn't have a choice.
That's me.
Right?
Yeah.
A true expert at their art isn't afraid of sharing exactly what you do, because you don't fear that. The collaboration is very empowering.
Yeah, and nothing feels better than when I go out and I go to a company and I teach a company for a day or two, and then for the next 2-3 months I'm getting messages back on my DM about, hey man, I took what you said about this, took it out in the field. It worked perfectly. I signed up for this week.
I say it to the boys when they're walking out the door. I've said it their entire lives. Okay, go be a good human. Because it's such a basic principle, but I think it needs to be said. It needs to be heard.
I wish more people in this industry would take that advice and just go do it.
Human.
Imagine where our roofing industry would be if we had 10% of our roofing industry being a good human.
They created this Frankenstein of a roofer, let's say, but that's where all of his knowledge came from. So he is the result of people being willing to share their little pieces that they were experts on, and they created him. So he needs to go, and his purpose now is to go and share that with other people.
Oh, hey, oh. You are now tuned in to the best roofing podcast in the world, the Roof Trollz.
Roof Trollz, we are back. Super cool setting, by the way. Hook Agency, give them a shout out, letting us use their podcast room. Appreciate that. Tiffany and Dan Walrack, I'll get you guys introduce yourself, although I got a feeling that you guys don't need much of an introduction here, but go ahead and let us hear something about you.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Walrack with Go Beyond the Hustle. Dan and I have been partners in the exterior restoration world for 25 years now. We're a bit of dinosaurs, we like to say. We started way back in the day, and we're just here to share our message, to share what it takes to get further down the road and work on your career. Also work-life balance, and we're happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm the other half, Dan Walrack with Go Beyond the Hustle also. I've been in the business here we're going on our 26th year. Mm-hmm. Like Tiffany said, I am a dinosaur in the business. I'm here to help new sales reps get to that next level, get to that elite level, and we're trying to do it one step at a time. And we started Go Beyond the Hustle a couple of years back, and we're trying to reach out to different people and help further the industry and stop some of these people in the industry that think they're gurus.
Oh man, so many of them do.
I know I opened that up for you.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to slide into some of the juicy stuff, but let's start what people really care about. Who came up with the concept for the microphone you guys have? That thing is so dope. It looks like an old Gatorade. Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? The blue
At RoofCon?
Yeah, the one you were using. Who came up with that?
We're looking at her over there, Tara.
Tara, let's give her a shout out. Tara.
Hey,
yeah.
Tara, is it Dapper Dog?
Dapper Dog Marketing.
Dapper Dog Marketing.
Tara does all of our marketing, our social media. She helps us so much with everything we do.
The inspiration, like I know you picked your colors out. Does any of that have anything to do with Gatorade? Because it resembles Gatorade so like the old school Gatorade feel. Like it's just got that on there. And
little
every
retro.
Every time I see that mic, I'm like, man, why didn't Roof Trollz come up with something cool like that? Like that's so awesome. And now I can't do it. You already went and took the thunder. Like now
we're gonna roll that out in Oklahoma City again too at RoofCon. Hopefully Tara's going to make it down for RoofCon with us, and we're going to do that again in RoofCon and run it around and do the microphones out there too. So
that would be awesome, man. Yeah, you should.
We'll get you on it, man. It'll be fun.
I would love that. That microphone is so cool. And I saw it. I'm like, dude, that's just outside thinking. A lot of people just aren't doing the fun things like that, and it's just something so small, and you just don't know. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, dude, that's so. It was a simple idea, and
right.
It's just so cool. Like I don't know. I just dig that. So I wanted to get you guys on here. I was like really excited to do this podcast because you guys are doing a lot of really cool things. And you've been around, like you said, dinosaurs. You guys been around for, 1998? 99. So I was 13 years old. Like you guys been selling roofs.
Don't do the math. Don't do the math.
I'm just saying though.
I'm just doing it in my head like, man, I'm old.
It's wild to think that you've been in this that long. And then when we hear some of the things that you guys are doing, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. These guys have been established in this. I mean, is there anybody in this industry doing anything worth of shit right now that you don't know?
That I don't know? I mean,
No.
The problem is
No, just be honest. No.
All right.
There can't be.
No.
I mean,
we've been around for a quarter of a century in this industry, and things have changed complete 360. So we've been through it all. We've done it all. So we stand pretty firm on having experienced pretty much all there is to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is not a whole lot that I can't say that we've gone through, that haven't gone through.
Sure.
I mean, we've owned a company, we've managed companies. She's been in banking industry, done the mortgages. I mean, we've been every aspect of the roofing industry. And, you sit there and you think back to yourself 26 years ago, it's like, when I first started 26 years, did I know 26 years from that point that this is still what I'm going to be doing? No clue, no idea.
That's the best part of this industry is that all of us got into this and none of us got into this trying to be roofers. Like none of us wanted it. It just happened. And then we're like, oh, this is cool.
And then you can't get yourself out.
Never.
I mean, the problem is I punched a clock when I was in college at, a couple Menards and some places like that. And when I started doing this, there's no out. I mean, I can't get myself out. Right. No. I mean, because I love doing what I'm doing. Right.
And you've put yourself in a position too that you have no way out anyway. So what was really cool was when we finally talked to each other, which by the way, on record, I have been in the same room with you multiple times and we never spoke to each other. And when we were at Utah, when we were sitting there at the end of the table with Deshaun, who I have a good relationship with, we were talking football and stuff like that. And what was really cool out of that conversation outside of football, but what was really cool about that was you said that you didn't set out to do what you're doing right now. The industry kind of like, dude, you $18.5 million by yourself. Yeah. So like the industry was just like, no, dude, like you, the cameras are on, bro. Like you're on the stage now.
You're seen now. You're seen now.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of catch it real quick, $18.5 million wasn't directly by myself. I had a lot of assistance from Tiffany, and
no doubt that's why she's here.
That's why she's here, and she's it's kind of funny. We talked about it last night, and I'll throw it out there right now. People ask me what my why was. Right, my why was my kids. Right. My wife was my no choice. I didn't have a choice.
That's me.
Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
It wasn't, hopefully you can get it. It was either you get it or you don't. You don't have a choice. And back when we first started 26 years ago, we didn't have a choice to say, hey, hopefully we make this work. I'm getting paid a salary or a draw now anyway, right? No big deal, right? No, we didn't have a choice back then. It was either you sink or you swim. That's
some of the cool part about like with us being in this industry, because it's drastically changed even since I've been in this.
100%.
It was like 2016, but I worked full commission, no salary for the first seven years that I did this. I didn't even know any better. That's just the way it was. And now like watching it and people around like, well, what's the salary? What's this? What's that? I'm like, dude, you get to make your own income. Yep. Fuck a salary. Like just go make money.
Set your schedule. It's you. I mean, you can make as much money as time you put into it, but you have to do it. And that's, people don't understand that now. The work ethic, the mindset of sales reps now is, well, how much am I going to get paid? What is this? What is this? And they don't understand that if you put your mindset as this is your career and you put 40 to 60 hours a week in consistently every week, you're going to make your money. Why do you care about a $40,000 a year salary? $50,000 a year salary? You should be above and beyond that. You should say, I don't want to make less than $250,000.
Yeah, and I don't understand why people don't have that mindset, because we get kids that I do all the interviews at Romans. I interview them for the first interview, and mostly I'm just trying to gauge who they are as a person.
Sure.
I could care less about the job aspect of it, because you're going to get that in the second interview. Yeah. It's not my job. I just want to make sure that I'm putting the right people in my culture so that you don't disrupt everything. You got to be a good person. Yeah. So when we do our interviews, you'll get kids that come in there and they're like, well, what's the wage? I'm like, well, what do you make right now? You're working at Target for $13 an hour and you want to know what the wages are here. I just told you there's no cap on your income. Yeah. Who cares what the base would be? You're making $13 an hour. You're okay going to work every single day to work underneath somebody who told you to your face that your value is $13 an hour. Mm-hmm. That's what you're worth to them. And you're asking me like what I think you're asking the wrong questions.
Exactly.
Right.
Like what do you think that you're worth? Are you worth $300,000? Well, come make it.
Yeah.
Like that's, but
it's
you got
an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. You got to bring a work ethic with it though. And a lot of people, they don't have that.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, I know when we first started off, with Jim Johnson as my mentor, I was adamantly against it. I was like, I don't want to go knock doors. I don't want to do that. I'm not selling vacuums to people. That's not what I want to do. And then he explained to me that you're not selling a want, you're selling a need in the insurance industry. So I'm like, until I really embraced that, I didn't get it. right? I didn't understand, but I knew that I'm the competitive nature. You know, I grew up that I didn't want to lose, right? And so I understood that, and I took that as a challenge where he flat out said, you have an opportunity to make 30 grand a year, or you have an opportunity to make 200 grand a year. You pick. And I'm watching other people in that position, other sales reps. And this is what I think our world, I don't know what the deal with our world is, but watching those guys in the top 1, 2, 3, 4 spot, knowing they're making $200,000 a year and knowing that I'm just as good at them, if not better, to me, that was a challenge. And I'm like, they're doing something different than all the rest of the guys. What are they doing different? And I was a sponge, man. I wanted to eat that up. I wanted to listen. I mean, just in the world we're talking now, I mean, if I was a new sales rep right now and I go into a company, I'm going in and I'm finding that 1, 2, and 3 guy and saying, hey, man, can I be your ladder bitch for 2 weeks? I just want to hear you. I want to know what you're saying. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know your habits. I want to know your goal. I want to know what you're doing, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take stuff from you, and you. I'm going to put it in my stuff, and I'm going to make my stuff better than you 3. And I'm going to take that as a challenge. And that's what we need our sales reps nowadays to embrace that.
Yeah, I was just going to say embrace it, because they should be wanting to give you that knowledge, because if you're the best, you're going to want to compete against the best. You can't be the best if you're sitting at the top of the leaderboard every year and not teaching anybody underneath you anything, because you're not the best. You're holding, you're containing job security is what you're doing.
Exactly.
You should be developing people underneath you so they can drive you to be better. So like once they're up to speed with you, well, then you got to get better now. And then so they, and then you got a healthy competition thriving. And then before you know it, both of you guys are making ridiculous amounts of money, or all 3 of you, all 4 of you, the whole sales team. Like, and that's where you guys, I mean, that's where you want it to be at.
Well, and that's kind of the mindset why Tiffany, helped think of Go Beyond the Hustle. She thought of that because, I've been sitting at the top for 25 years and I've been at that. Now it's time. We got to go beyond that part of it. We got to go to the part where making great money. That's great. Money's going to follow. I'm invested in. I'm career mindset. This is where I'm at. Right now, let's go beyond the hustle. Let's teach other people, newer people, how to get to that point.
Well, and a true expert at their art isn't afraid of sharing exactly what you do, because you don't fear that. The collaboration is very empowering, and you get to a point where you've experienced everything or nearly everything. And what can you bring to me that I can't answer? Or what can you bring to us that I'm going to doubt myself? Nothing. So let's talk about it. Let's share. I'm going to build you up because I'm secure in where I am. We know what we can do. We know what we're capable of. So him training people and teaching people and me mentoring people, it's an opportunity, and you get to a point in your career where you want something, you want next level, you want to go beyond that hustle. The empowerment that you get from training and teaching and sharing, it replaces the income and it becomes that exciting new thing.
Yeah, and nothing feels better than when I go out and I go to a company and I teach a company for a day or two, and then for the next 2-3 months I'm getting messages back on my DM about, hey man, I took what you said about this, took it out in the field. It worked perfectly. I signed up for this week.
Fantastic.
You make yourself, I'm not making money on the deal, but I'm happy that this guy understood what I said, took it to effect, went out in the field and actually applied it, and he's killing it. And so I get that sense of, I'm 48 years old. I've done everything there is. I've made my money. I've done a great job in this. I want to see that next level succeed. Right? And it frustrates me because I sit there and I listen to a lot of so-called gurus out in the field, right? And they're telling these people the best way to sell, the best way to do this, the best way to do that. And man, they haven't touched a door, been on a roof in 15 years, but yet they know everything there is to know about sales. And I try to explain, the newer sales reps, like, listen, knocking on doors has changed. Knocking on doors 26 years ago and knocking on doors now are completely different. Selling that homeowner 26 years ago and selling that homeowner now is completely different. And if you're using that mindset of selling 15 years ago and trying to apply it now, it's not going to work. And it's just a mindset that you have to go beyond,
right,
and figure out a new technique or a new way of how are you going to sell that homeowner? How are you going to sell yourself? And that's why Go Beyond the Hustle really originated. As we talked about, there is other ways of doing it. You just got to learn those ways. And that's what we wanted to do it as a couple. We wanted to get that out there and teach people and teach new sales reps and teach owners of companies that there's other ways of teaching your sales reps to go out and get jobs than just pounding on doors all day long, every day.
Right.
Now, we all know knocking on doors, you have to go through the blood, sweat, and tears to get to that point. We all get it. You know, if you don't do it the first couple of years, it's basically, I call it a rite of passage, right? We've all been there. We've all done it. And we got to do it. Your first couple of years, you got to knock doors, right? But there are ways beyond knocking doors where you can get leads and you can generate business where a lot of these newer sales reps don't know and don't get and don't understand how to get to that point. And that's kind of why we're helping out with that situation.
So that's something that Dan does, is he does boots on the ground in the trenches training. And that's what he really prides himself on, being able to say, I'm still in the trenches. He's still selling roofs. He's still building. He is a roofer. Sometimes he's a roofer, sometimes he's a mentor. So he's still currently actively doing that, putting on roofs, doing siding,
talking to homeowners,
absolutely, all the time. He's still actively doing that. We've just added another level to what we do.
And you should. And honestly, the fact that you do still knock doors, the fact that you do still do adjuster appointments here and there, like obviously, you know, you've catapulted yourself. You've been doing it for 25 years. You guys got to go, like you said, beyond where you guys have been at. Yeah. So you want to take it to a new level. So you have other priorities to do as well. You're trying to clean the image of the industry. And I respect that. What I also respect is the fact that you guys actually still do it. So like you are someone that I follow along with. Deshaun is someone that I follow along with. Because I mean, you can say whatever you guys want to about him. I've seen him. I've had him out with my team physically knocking on doors. The guy goes all around the weekends knocking on doors. He's still doing it. Right. Now, they may not do it as much as your door knockers, you know, as your typical salesman. Right. But you could take advice from them because they're still doing it. You know, like they're still out there.
And that's what we do.
It.
He's still selling. He's still capping out roofs. I'm still doing the books. I'm still handling all the office, all the behind the scenes and paying the taxes and doing all of that. And then we've just added this other layer where now we're starting to share our knowledge. We're starting to mentor. We're starting to train and teach. So half of the day is spent on one thing, which we've been doing for 25, going on 26 years now. And then the other half is brand new to us and very exciting. And that's not about the income as much as it's about building something new and really challenging ourselves. Because after 25 years, you really do get in a rhythm and you get in a groove. We don't really need to speak. When it comes to that, I know what he's doing. He knows what I'm going to do. It's unspoken. So to be able to start to collaborate again and communicate and build something new is really exciting for us.
It's beautiful going out there, being on the same page and knowing, like, she knows if I've got a busy day that the expectation is, oh, he's not going to be here from dinner and things like that. But there's no animosity toward that. Because the expectation, we both know what the expectation is for each other.
We've just done it for so long. Yeah. Truly, we've just done this for so long.
And the true beauty behind that is not only are you guys collaborating and working really well together, but there's an added element to that outside of our industry. It brings you guys closer. Mm-hmm. Your marriage is closer. Your guys' bond is closer. And that's special. Sometimes in this industry, we lose sight of that. You know, like I always tell people too that I work with, like, what we do here is so exciting and I love it, but it's the second favorite part of my life. You know, I'm a father. I have a almost 9-year-old little girl at home. Like, that's my jam, you know, like that's my thing. So like you guys, it's really cool because my fiance works for the public adjusting company that we work with, and I have Romans. So she's in the industry. We don't work side by side yet. We will though.
You will.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
It's coming.
100%. Yeah. But, it's cool that we can share that together because this is like this industry is really special to me because it changed my life. I couldn't hold a job down before this, and it made me step my game up. You know, I was a cocky, arrogant prick my first 2 years in this. I really was. I thought I was the shit, and then I found out I wasn't shit. So along the way, you start to be like, all right, man, maybe I should clean this up or do this. And then having the support like you do and like you do, that's huge, man, because you need that. There needs to be somebody at home cheering you on and rooting you. Like your why has to be part of your life. Like it's got to be,
And what an amazing lesson we're teaching our boys is that whether you're in the same industry or not, to show support at home, that you're a team and that if you do work together, if you don't work together, it's still about communicating and supporting each other because you do have common goals outside of all of that. So just to show our kids that he worked in an industry, I didn't, then I joined the industry, and it's encompassed our entire family. When that big storm happened, not geographically a big storm, but for us, because of the roots that we had in our community, because we were already 20 years in, and he and I were pretty much a well-oiled machine when it came to the roofing and the siding, and the division of labor and responsibilities. Like we had our system down. It involved our entire family. It wasn't just me. We had to have a family meeting. We had to talk about the sacrifices we were going to make and the expectations and the contributions that our 4 boys could put towards it. But we all reap the benefits and we all have the common goals. So it's really about a healthy home life, whatever that looks like, and surrounding yourself with people that are going to support you, knowing what your prizes are, what your goals are.
So the year you did that, if I'm understanding it correctly from what you just said, so you worked an area that you were well known in. You've been working that area for a little while. Our own
community.
Oh, beautiful!
It's our hometown. It's where we've lived. Well, we've lived for 15 years. So we had 4 kids in the school district. We have volunteered. We have donated. He is a volunteer coach within the community. He is a coach for the school district. We had our roots down because we were trying to just be good humans. It didn't have any ulterior motive. It's just part of being a good person and putting your roots down in your community. And then it happened that a storm came through that on the storm reports is not this giant storm that everyone in the nation heard about. But in our area, it's where it hit. And that's where our people are. That's where our friends are. I think a major point of what you're saying is, and that people need to realize and understand, is we didn't let ourselves be known in the community for a monetary reason. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We let ourselves be known in the community because we want to be good humans. Yeah. We wanted to do the things right in our community to where people knew me and knew my brand and knew what I did. Dan is a roofer. They knew that. But that's it. They knew Tiffany is married to a roofer. For 10 years, for 15 years, Dave does roofing. But he's the coach. And we're at the board meetings and we're at the whatever we're at. And we're in the community and we're volunteering because we're trying to be good humans and teach our children to be good humans. So that was it. There wasn't an ulterior motive, work in the concession stand or teaching the kids that we're going to donate or we're going to raise money for the canine officer or we're going to work security at our local festival. We did that because we're trying to raise good children. And it just happened that all of the stars aligned and putting down roots and making good choices and being a good person, it turns into something because all of those people in our community, they stepped up and they called him. And they said, I'll wait 3 months. It's fine. Because they knew that for all of those years, we volunteer. We're just present in our community. That's all. We're nothing special. But we're in our community. And they're like, it's fine. That's what he does. He's coached my kid for 9 years. He can do my roof. I'll wait. Yeah, that's amazing. And that was one of the things we were going to touch base on anyway, but you guys kind of alluded to it, so we'll go down that road right now. I saw the donation thing, and if Angelo was in here with me, it'd be a great conversation for that too. So that was the number one thing when we sat down, we were going to Romans, because I was going to do this with our Malice. We were going to do this ground level up. It was time for me to go off and do my own thing. I wanted to open up a business. I wanted to do this. I had a belief in culture over profits will equal out more profits. It was my thought process in it. So I started developing that. But along the way, we linked up with my buddy Angelo and Jeff, who had the shell of a company at Romans. And we got in and they just we had everything they were missing. They had everything we were missing. And we joined up together. But our philosophy on that was, it was like building a culture and giving back. But I told them when we did the deal, when we sat down with the lawyers and everything was squared away and stuff. And I said, hey, man, I'm only doing this if we genuinely are going to give a shit about the people around us. If we're not, we need to be honest with each other about that, because we're all in or we're not. Yeah. So then, we did the roof giveaways for the veterans and stuff. We did the backpack giveaways for the school. We did some Angel Tree family stuff. We've done a lot of things, but the most important thing is that we don't use those as write-offs. You don't do that. You don't do things that can manipulate the good that you did. If we're going to give away something, we're going to give it away. Yeah. It's not going to be something else. It's nothing attached to it. Nope. And I saw you guys with the gifts and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that hit home for me, because I'm like, dude, people don't know. You say, of course, but there's so many scumbags out there that don't give back. Well, you know how many times I've told her that? I'm like, listen, I said, what we're doing, I mean, I understand you think it's second nature. You think this is what a person should do. But there's so many people out there that are thinking about themselves and thinking about their pocketbook and thinking how much money they're going to make off this, and setting things up like that just to try to reap the benefits. Yep. You know what I mean? That's not what we ever did. And our thing was, every year we help out and pass out Christmas presents or toys to underprivileged people. Why do we do that? Because we truly enjoy doing that, and it's a good thing to do.
It's not to try to make money off the deal.
When you put that in like video or like a picture, you know, because you get all those people that think like that, but it's like, but you have to do that because it's not because I'm gloating. It's because I'm trying to inspire the rest of you who aren't doing it to get off your ass and do it.
You can do it in your own community, that there's little ways and with no ulterior motives. And it will come back. Karma will come back. It comes back.
I believe in it 100%.
Well, that's kind of where go beyond the hustle. That's the type of things. I mean, you can go out there and hustle and knock doors all day long, but you need to go beyond that and be a good person.
And that's part of it. That's part of it. I have been saying to Dan since the beginning of time, can you please just be a good human? Like it's one of our sayings. It's one of our slogans, be a good human. It's as simple as that. And I've been saying that to him for about 25 years. I want you, just go be a good human. Please go be a good human.
Well, that's literally all you can do. And for some reason, things seem to work out for good humans.
It does, but you just need to hear it. Like I say it to the boys when they're walking out the door. I've said it their entire lives. Okay, go be a good human. Because it's such a basic principle, but I think it needs to be said. It needs to be heard. Just go be a good human.
I wish more people in this industry would take that advice and just go do it.
Go be, you know what I mean? At your core, go be a good human.
Imagine where our roofing industry would be if we had 10% of our roofing industry being a good human.
Getting me fired up right now because that's the basis of what I preach every day. We have to do better in our industry because it's getting tainted. We're being looked at as used car salesmen, and we're providing a service that people need and that genuinely help them. And because people are going around and creating damage, going around and fucking over homeowners, taking checks and stuff, we that hurts us. Yeah. You know, I tell the local guys that we have, like I invite all of them to the podcast. None of them come because we're competitors. There are no competitors. We are all in this together against the same people that we know we go against on a day in and day out basis. That's the real problem, not us. Yeah. But the problem is that there's so many people that own a roofing company next to the other roofing company that want to step on your throat instead of helping us to clean the image. Going to a homeowner and downplaying what I do or shitting on me doesn't make us look better. It makes both of us look terrible. Yeah, you painted the image of me being a bad person, but you also painted the image that you will go around and talk behind people's back and that you're a shady person doing anything you can to get a deal too. So neither one of us is going to get a deal out of that. And it hurt the image because then people are reminded, oh yeah, see, sales, I told you, salespeople are sleazeballs. You know, they don't care.
You know, when I first started doing this 26 years ago, there used to be a thing in the roofing industry called roofing etiquette. And it's so funny because in 26 years of watching this industry go, you see the etiquette just getting farther and farther and farther away because, like you said, now you got roofing companies that aren't even going out to sell their own brand or sell themselves. They're out there to shit on their neighbor.
Yep.
You know, and it's like homeowners don't want to hear that. You know, when you're a homeowner and you have 6 different people coming up to your door, knocking on your door, and they're trying to pitch your brand and they're trying to tell you why this guy sucks and this guy's horrible. What a homeowner wants to hear is how are you going to pursue their best interest? You know, sell yourself to that homeowner. Explain. And people ask me all the time. They're like, man, how do you close at such a high rate? How do you get approvals? How do you do all that stuff? I'm like, the reason I get those is because I've sold myself to the point where that homeowner and I have built that trust amongst us that they're not going anywhere else. You know, vice versa with the adjuster. I've built that trust with that insurance adjuster where that adjuster knows that if he's got me on a claim, he's going to buy that roof.
Yeah, and some people don't understand that, not closing actually helps you close with homeowners too.
100%.
I tell our guys all the time, like I'll run into a door, say I knock it and the person's out and the same thing, like, oh, I'm already using this guy and blah, blah, blah. Hey, that's great. You know what? I'm happy that you're actually being helped right now because a lot of people out here aren't being helped. Here's my card. If you ever have any questions or concerns or if anything should fall off for communication or, hey, maybe you know somebody else who might benefit from my services, give me a call. I'm just thankful again that you're being taken care of. And I hope everything works out well for you. You'll be amazed on 1, how many referrals you'll get off that. And then 2, how many people will fuck a homeowner over. Contractors they're foolish in this. They're just kids. They're hiring 18 and 19-year-old kids. They have no follow-up.
And you're building that respect level with that homeowner. I can't tell how many times I walked up to a house and they were signed up with another contractor and I didn't try to juice my way in.
No.
I handed my card and I said, hey, listen, same situation you said. I'm happy you're being taken care of. Is there anything that contractor doesn't do? I mean, how many times do you see contractors that don't do gutters or don't do siding, they just do roofs, things like that, where I've signed up people where they may be doing the roof with so-and-so company, but that's all that company does is roofing. I come in there and I'll do the gutters and I'll do the siding, and I'm still part of that homeowner's process where I'm in there taking care of the other aspects of the job as opposed to, oh, they don't do the roof, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's a good idea too. And I'll even go one step further if I know the person, because I've only worked my area for 8 years. Like that's it. So when we're in there and we see somebody, because I see a lot of them that I've worked with previously, I'm like, oh, Josh, oh yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy. I was like, Reliance, shout out Reliance. But hey, man, those are great people. Like they're going to take care of you and you're going to be handled the right way. So if anything falls through, give me a call, but you should be taken care of pretty well.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Why can't we do that? I don't understand.
That's called roofing etiquette, and you don't see a lot of that anymore, man.
It's wild. Millions of houses, and everybody's concerned about 10 in the neighborhood. Like, get the fuck out of here. It's crazy even having that conversation with them sometimes. Where do you guys see like Beyond the Hustle going? Like, what are the? Because I know you guys are like getting out there, and you guys got some fun, creative ideas. You don't have to share everything with me, but let me hear.
The thing that Dan enjoys the most currently is his boots on the ground in-person training that he is starting to do. He'll go nationwide for companies, big and small, and he will train. That's truly who he is in essence. He is let's have a Q&A. Let's talk about things. I want to meet you face to face. And most importantly, he is let's go to your job site. Do you have one building right now? Let's go walk around. Let me show your sales reps how I walk around, how I do my scope assessment, how I handle everything. So for him, he still loves making that homeowner connection. So he wants to go on homeowner appointments with sales reps actively running appointments at companies. And I think that's really unique because he's saying, I'm going to climb in that truck and I'm going to go with your guys. Who needs help? He's going to provide that service at a job site in Arkansas, in Tennessee,
West Virginia,
wherever he needs to go. So to give that where he is still selling roofs and he has to work around his build schedule. So he is a real sales rep still out there doing his own work. We have to work around his build schedule when he's in season, but getting him out to these companies and really digging into the company, not preaching from a podium or from the front of a stage somewhere. He likes to actually be with them regular, just doing what he does, but doing it for them all to see.
Yeah, I enjoy nothing more than sitting in a group of 15, 20 sales reps and guys and coaching, training, whatever you want to call it, but basically explaining how I handle it from A to Z, how I handle the process if I was running the claim, right? And how to get the job, how to network yourself, how to build those relationships, how to get the approvals, how to, what do you do if it's denied? What do you do if it's approved? How to go through that, handle the 10 most, the objections people have. Teaching those train those sales reps that process, but then at 3:00 or whatever time, finding out from the owner, hey, you've got, a couple sales reps got 2 or 3 appointments, jumping, like Tiffany said, jumping in that truck with them, going out there, listening to the guy's pitch, right? Seeing what I can do to help them out. Because I'm a firm believer that, and I said this a billion times, I truly believe your best sales reps, your best salesmen in the world, in the nation, don't have a pitch. What they are good at is they're great at reading those homeowners. And they adapt to that where they're at. So like we did one in West Virginia, right? If I would have thrown out a pitch on this guy in West Virginia, I would have never gotten in the door. But you read this homeowner. This homeowner was, a backcountry guy, good guy, but, was a straight shooter, right?
Yeah, straight to the point. Yeah.
Straight to the point. And I explained to the sales rep as he's trying to do his pitch to this guy, I pulled him aside when we're doing our inspection. I'm like, listen, this guy doesn't want a pitch. He wants you to tell him exactly what you're going to do and then do it. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, I'll show you. So the next time we get around, we meet with the homeowner comes back out of his garage. We sit down and I tell the guy, I said, sir, this is what we're going to do. We're going to contact your insurance company. We're going to get a claim opened up on a wind damage. Once we get that taken care of, the adjuster is going to come out. We're going to hand him our scope assessment. We're going to try to get you a brand new roof up here. It's going to cost you your $1,500 deductible. Are you cool with that? And the guy says, that's fair to me. Let's give it a shot. Instead of going through this whole crazy pitch about this kid had, which is fine. I mean, I understand people train and teach the pitch, right? I get it, right? Yep. You got to give them a starting point. But when it gets to that point where sometimes you got to read your homeowner and be like, that guy's not ready for a pitch. That guy's ready to be, what are you going to do how are you going to pursue his best interest? And that's what I like to do is I like to go out with those sales reps and help them close deals. You know what I mean? And if I can go out there and help them close 60, 70% of the deals I'm out there with them, and then also train them while I'm doing it, hopefully that helps them in the future when I'm not there. That, hey, what did Dan say? Dan said, try this. Let me give it a shot, right? and help him do that route. That's what I truly enjoy doing, and it's a blast.
And he has fun. He'll call me and he'll say, I've got this sales rep and this sales rep and this sales rep. And when they report back to him in the days and weeks and months, he'll say, we'll have this discussion. We'll be like, he's just doing so great. And now he knows the backstory. He knows that sales rep is expecting a baby. Like the wife is expecting a baby and da-da-da. And he's like, I just made a huge difference in that kiddo, person's life. I
feel like I'm a mentor to, so far I've probably coached 300, 400, 500 reps. I feel like I'm like a little mentor to all 5 of those. They're contacting me back and let me know
report back.
This went, and it's awesome because I want to hear the successes, right? But I also told him, I said, with your successes, there's going to be failures. So shoot me questions about your failures. Tell me what you think you did wrong, and then I'll see what I can do to help you out. Kind of like, I guess it's a free coaching on the message side of it. You know what I mean? But I just enjoy it.
I have a notebook that I keep track of, and I mentioned this a couple times on the podcast, but what I do is I write down names of people who have never made 6 figures before prior to working for me or working with me. And then I document it as they come across there. And that list means everything to me. That's better than anything else, because if I could bring somebody into that and like share with them like the fruits of all the labor you put in for this, like it's amazing to watch people's lives change. I had a buddy who was a similar situation I was in, couldn't hold a job down, just bought his house 2 years ago, bought a house finally.
But how empowering is it to know that you
changed his life,
man?
Yeah,
that's what you're gonna go home and you're gonna the next 20 years of your life, 30 years of your life, you're gonna think that in your brain. It's like, and it's not because you want the fruits of the labor. It's because you've changed their life.
You made a difference.
You made a difference in somebody else's life, which is really cool.
Yeah, there's a line in J. Cole's song that says, what good is first class if my boys can't sit with me? But that's a real thing. As I tell everybody, like, what do I want to, you want me to get rich alone or make some money alone and then what? And then go be alone? Like, that's not fun.
Right.
How about we all own a business, or we all open up shop and we work together and build like a whole big brand, a brand ourselves. Right. And then we all reap the benefits of that. And then we take our lives that have been changed and help change other people's lives, and then continue to go that way. Like that's how the image of the industry gets better, and that's how you get better evolving as a person. Because like you guys are clearly, you guys are scaling up on that level now, and I'm just now starting to get into like, hey man, Elijah, maybe you need to stop being a piece of shit and start helping people. So like that, it took me a while to get there, and to watch you guys do it, like I know at least I'm on the right trajectory.
Absolutely.
Because when we were starting to make money, I've been making money since 2016, like good money, and I'm like, man, once I stopped giving a shit about my income, I started making more than I had ever made my entire life.
Because it's coming. It'll flow behind.
It'll follow.
It does.
And there's no scenario as an owner or a manager or anything, like helping someone make more money will never ever hurt your business or never ever hurt you. No. Like it's never going to. You can only improve everything. So why are you limiting anything for anybody? You should give it to them.
Right. Yeah. You shouldn't suppress. You shouldn't not share knowledge or not mentor or not just lend a helping hand when you can. Why keep someone else down?
Yeah. And then you're obviously like you're happy where you're at. You work with some badass people.
There's some good people.
Me, for sure.
No,
Thank
for
you.
100%. 100%. But being in your position, you gotta. You're a big personality. You just are. So like you're the shit. You're a big dog. So like being humble enough to stay in an environment where you're not necessarily the man, but you are. Because I know how they treat you really well. But like that takes a lot of humility, man. It really does. Like, and it also is a sign that you're being treated really well and being taken care of. So what's it like being in your position and knowing that you could easily go open up shop and be successful?
Well, it's funny because people ask that all the time, why I don't own my own company, right? I'm a licensed contractor. I'm a licensed insurance adjuster. I've been licensed for 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. They're asking, why don't you open your own company? It's because I'm very content where I am right now. And I don't want to build that responsibility on top and that stress on top of my life right now. And we've done it. We've been there. We've done that. We've made great money. A multi-million-dollar roofing company for a decade. So we've done it. We've seen it. Yep. And I'm still a firm believer, and everyone laughs at me when I say that. I think the best job in roofing is salesman, because you get to basically write your own book, man. Yeah. And I love doing it. Some of us. And the position I'm in right now, there's no other position in the company that you can pursue that homeowner's best interest to the 100% that you can do as a salesman. And like you said, to be humble. I mean, we sit in on sales meetings and stuff like that, and I sit in the back, and
he goes to the sales meetings.
I go to every sales meeting. You know, I'm multi-million-dollar rep, and I go to every sales meeting that the company has, and I do the same. I follow the company standards and things like that, and the culture and things like that, because there's nothing that makes me. I'm not a better man than anybody else or a better woman than anybody else in that company. Right? We're on the same, I'm a sales rep, they're a sales rep, we're on the same field. The only difference is I've been doing this for 25 years and I know what works to get to that next level. And I'm willing to share that with anybody that asks me, anybody that asks questions. I'm always willing to share that, because you know what? Like Tiffany said earlier, I mean, who am I to sit there and hold that information back? That's not going to make me a better person. You know, I'm willing to give that out and divulge that information to anybody.
Something that I share with Dan as when he's going to a conference or he's going to speak or he's going to run a workshop.
Besides, don't fuck it up.
That is the last words out of my mouth. It is true.
Advice I give all my sales.
That's my advice on my text every time I'm getting ready.
It wasn't me. The last words I say to him before he goes on stage or he goes to whatever are those words. It is true, but that is my heartfelt support for him. But what I like to remind him before he heads on stage and just to put him in the right mindset is I remind him that he is a combination of so many dinosaurs from back in the day. I won't say specific names, but there were insurance adjusters, several of them, that took Dan under their wings way back when. And they taught him what to ask for and how to ask and what to be looking at. And they taught him little tricks in their microtel apartments and their extended stay apartments. And he is a product of all of those humans. So those old school sales reps that he used to tease were old back in the day. That I remind him now he's older than they were. But he is just one big combination of so many different people that were willing to share information because they took pity on him, because they had mercy on him and said, come here, new guy, I'll teach you some stuff. And they created this Frankenstein of a roofer, let's say, but that's where all of his knowledge came from. So he is the result of people being willing to share their little pieces that they were experts on, and they created him. So he needs to go, and his purpose now is to go and share that with other people.
So he's the exception to the 1% rule. So you could tell everybody how to do everything. A room full of 600 people, and only one of them, if even that, is going to actually listen
100%.
to what you're saying and apply it. So you actually listened and applied it.
I did.
He listened over and over and over again because
I had no choice.
I was just going to say he had no choice. When he said, I think I'm going to go try this. His degree is in teaching. He was supposed to be a teacher. I had a plan. We had our plan. And when he deviated from that and he said, I think I'm going to try this, I said, okay, but you have to do better than you were going to do as a teacher, or you're coming home. I don't have time for this in my life. Like, you either need to make this work or you're done. I'm not going to play. And we didn't have anything. We didn't have a safety net. We didn't nothing. So it was either you make this work or you stop. And if he wanted to make it work, he had to figure it out really fast. We had no safety net. And so that's where it came from.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then what about the logo? What's up with in the beginning, I thought you dabbed. Like, no. I was like, damn, he is old. I'm like, dabbing and shit? That's not even around anymore. But
ironically, and this is kind of funny how it happened, is 15, 20 years ago, I used to do big jobs, right? And I shouldn't say used to. Did big jobs, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And on big jobs, just for shits and giggles, I'd always just send a picture back with the pose.
And I would react.
Nothing meaning, and she'd react, and she'd
I would roll my eyes. Oh, Lord, here he is again. And then he started doing it. We'd go on vacation, and he'd climb to the top of a hill and be like, take my picture. And he'd do the pose, and I would roll my eyes and take the picture.
Nothing meaningful. No. It's what I did, right? Since 2005, probably.
And he knew he could get a reaction. So we have pictures from all over the world, the places we've been, of him doing that ridiculous pose. Yeah. And I would tease him on it, but it kind of became it's like a signature.
Kind of like my shtick, you know?
Yeah.
It's his thing, and it turned into a thing. And still to this day, when he does his pose on a top of a pile of shingles or on the top of a peak of a roof or whatever, and I'll roll my eyes.
Well, and it's funny
There
as
it
I tell her all the time when we were branding Go Beyond the Hustle and things like that. I said, honey, we can do whatever you want to do with Go Beyond the Hustle, but my pose has got to be in there. And she's like, what? I'm like, I said, I've been doing that since I've been doing roofing. So
he's always been known for it. And it was always this silly thing that Dan would do. There's that weird, there he is doing his pose. Like that was always the reaction. Yeah. In the back of a group picture, in the back of a company vacation, there's Dan doing his pose. But it became his brand. It became part of who he was, whether I liked it or not. And so when we started talking about Go Beyond the Hustle, because the spotlight got thrust upon him.
Well, like you said, I mean, doing that 18.5 million, I didn't have a choice.
We didn't seek this out. It just happened. At a convention.
D2D, it all happened at D2D when Tim was there and Mike was there and Deshaun.
I heard somebody had asked, somebody brought up the 18 million. They're like, well, who?
Well,
and it was like, just give me.
Well, I'll tell you exactly how it all started off. It all started off with they had a panel up front that Ian from Omega, Ian Smith and Deshaun and some other novices were up there, and these other guys, they sold $1 million a year. You know, it's like, whatever, right?
They were an expert panel that they
But there was 100 and some people in the audience and they were asking questions. And the only one up on the thing that could answer questions was Ian was an owner, so he wasn't selling at the time, and was Deshaun. And Deshaun's trying to answer these questions to all these sales reps that are asking actual sales questions instead of knocking door questions. And they weren't getting their answers. The one guy's like, I don't know, and everything like that. And so I would raise my hand and I would answer the questions from the audience, right? And then at the end of the job, or end of the sales or the breakout, thank you. Deshaun's like, if anybody else has any other questions, they're welcome to ask us after the breakout. We'll be right over here. Just, whatever. And not thinking anything of it. I'm sitting right next to Mike Goldstein. We're just shooting the shit. And then after the breakout, all of a sudden I had a line of 15, 20 people that were in line to ask me questions. And that's when Mike turned over to me and he goes, man, you know way more than all of these other guys. You need to start helping these people out. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, Dan, this is what you need to do. He goes, these people have questions and they can't get them answered. And he used the word GOAT, right? Mm-hmm. You know what you're doing, right? The greatest. And I'm like, And next thing I know, Tim Hook said, hey, we need to go up into a hotel room. We did a podcast. And from that point on, it just started, snowballed. And I was getting calls from all the conferences saying, hey, can you speak here? Can you talk here? And now lately, now that with Tiffany, we're just starting to do a, work-life, personal life balance. And now, you got all these conferences wanting both of us up on stage because that's something that hasn't been touched either. Nobody brings that significant other back into the business. And how are you going to get to that elite level? How are you going to do, sales reps can do $1, $2, $3, $4 million. They can do that. They got great work ethic. But to do that $5 to $10 million range, you got to have everybody on board in your village in your house. Uh-huh. You got to have everybody on board to make that $5 to $10 million. Because I'll tell you what, as a regular sales rep, you ain't hitting $8 million if everybody ain't on board in your village. And that's true, because I'm not worried about a phone call from Tiffany at 5:30 at night saying, hey, you gonna be home from dinner? Why not? Da 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 da. She knows if I'm out working, I'm out working. And she knows I ain't doing anything else but working. And then I coming back home, let her know how my day is, and she'd ask questions, and we go that route, right? Whereas, if she was pissed at me and didn't want me out there, and she calls me at 5:30 and I ain't coming home because I'm working and we're arguing, my mindset's not there from 5:30 to 8:30 where I'm not I guarantee I'm not selling another job because my mindset's not there.
Yep.
So yeah, it just 26 years, man. It's worked out. And so that's kind of where we're touching on now. Now she's getting into the speaking thing. She outspeaks me like you can't believe. And
we just speak about what we know. We just speak about what we know.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's awesome. That's why I wanted you on here too, though, with him, because like you said, people aren't asking those questions and they're not like diving into what it takes to behind everything to do that. And that's like what our focal point is there's so many little things that get thrown into this that like sales are like selling to the homeowner is literally like the last thing. Mm-hmm. Like everything else that leads up to that is what people don't acknowledge.
No.
And I wish that there would be a brighter light shined on that, so then people would understand that like, oh shit, okay, that makes sense. That's how he was able to do this, or right. That's the type of effort that it takes to do these things. Because a lot of people, we were just talking about that, a lot of people see the steak dinners, they'll see the trucks, they'll see, you know, like the flights and all that stuff, like you on stage, you know, your poses around the country, like, oh, look at him, you know, he had a good year, he's making money. People don't see 3 o'clock in the morning, putting fucking notes in the CRMs, calling homeowners or meeting them at ridiculous, obnoxious times. Just
4 in the morning color meetings.
Well, tarping a roof in the middle of a thunderstorm.
I heard about the color meeting. Reed told us that about 4:30 in the morning. I picked up a check one time at 1:30 in the morning. I had a customer that worked at a BP oil refinery, and I was like, "Well, what's your availability, man?" I'm like, "I can't get a hold of you." He was like a foreman, and he worked like 18-hour shifts, and he's like, "Hey man, I got a lunch break, and that's all I got for you." And I'm like, "Well, when's your lunch break?" So it's 1:30 in the morning in Whiting. I said, "I'll see you there." Went to the oil refinery, walked in there, met him in his break room, signed his check, and moved on from there. But like, that's the type of level of commitment that it takes, and some people just don't see that.
Right.
And the education level, because I'm sure that, I mean, you guys are doing it now, and that's awesome that you guys are paving a road for new reps to come in here, but it takes a little bit of time before you realize that companies can only give you so much.
Yep.
Like, we can only teach you so much inside of the classroom. You have to go home, and if this is something you're passionate about or something that you actually want to excel in or make the money that you see other people making, like you alluded to, $250,000 and plus, dude, you got to educate yourself.
Right.
YouTube, you know, there's free speakers out there. There are some good ones. There's some really good free content out there, and you could just go look for it. Open up a book, or like you know, I didn't know you had your insurance adjuster's license. That's amazing.
Yes. Yep.
I went and got my PA license, but it's expired since, but I only did it because I wanted to educate myself on that aspect of it, so I understood it.
Right.
So this is how old I am. I just got told a couple of years ago that I'm grandfathered in now, so I no longer have to do my continuing education for my insurance.
Yes.
After 20 years, if you've got your insurance adjuster license, you're automatically grandfathered in to never have to do continuing ed again.
Or at least from when you
awesome.
started. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you took it upon yourself to, well, I'm sure you probably played a factor in it too, but like just educating yourself on the other end of it is something that a lot of them don't do. Like, I have an adjuster's handbook at home, and I've never taken my adjuster's test or anything like that, but it's important to. But
you want to be on their playing field. You want to know what their requirements are, what they're requesting, what they're asking for on I want to know that.
Right.
So, and knowing that, I'm going to put myself 2 steps better than most of the other contractors out there.
Why wouldn't you? It's like when we started out and we were newly married, I knew we were going to be buying homes, and mortgages are intimidating and scary. And so I said to him, I don't know anything about it. I don't want to ever get ripped off. So I'm going to go do mortgages. So that was my profession, is I did residential lending because I wanted to know that I wasn't going to ever get screwed by it. So if you're meeting adjusters on roofs constantly, why not learn what they know? Why not go through the training? Why not get the certification? Why not get your licensure? You don't have to use it and maintaining it, but why not have it in your toolbox, right? Yeah. It was just last summer that a certification came up in our local community, completely free event, where he could go get his storm spotter certification. Well, that relates to his field.
Oh, that's awesome.
Why wouldn't he? So he went to the local firehouse.
3.5 hour class.
Sat through the class, learned a bunch of stuff, and he is a certified storm spotter. It relates generally to his field, but it adds to his credibility. It adds to his toolbox. And that
PEG certification.
Is priceless.
I mean, I can go down a list of certifications you get.
You just pick them up. Why wouldn't you educate yourself to be more educated than the person that you're working with?
That's why I'm glad that I'm finally in that mindset. It took a little bit of time to get there, but like last year I set my goal from January to December. I wanted to read 25 books. I knocked that out. I read all 25. But the year before that, it was actually Deshaun, in a normal conversation we were having. He was like, and I wasn't even talking to him about like anything educational wise. He was just like, yeah, I picked up this book and I read this book. And he was like, and I didn't even really want to read the book. He's like, but he's like, I had some other guy reading it, and he's like, and fuck that, I ain't going to let that guy learn something I don't know about.
Right.
And it hit me. Yeah. And I'm just so simple. And I'm like, man, that's a very interesting way to think about life.
You need to consume knowledge.
So then I'm like, well, what books is everybody reading? So then I found, Extreme Ownership, Atomic Habits and stuff. And I'm like going down and I'm like, oh man. And I read them, and now I'm like, oh, I missed out. I missed out a lot. I'm like, yeah, it's time to do that now. I'm like, it's a book a month now for the rest of my life. Like, at least a book a month. Like, it has to be. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because that's normally the main question I get asked when I do podcasts or when I'm speaking. Is people ask me all the time, what is the one thing that I'd tell a new sales rep that was starting out that I wish I would have done when I first started off? And you hit it on the head, man. It's investing in yourself. And I'm not saying go spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go all these conferences and things like that. I mean, but going to conferences do help with networking and relationship building. But to invest in themselves by reading books, by figuring out what the top dogs are doing that sets them apart from everybody else, and understanding that, jumping on our monthly,
we have online classes.
Yeah, we have an online class.
Open forum classroom
jumping
style.
on things like that. Jumping on, listen to those people that have made it in this industry, that made it the right way. Let's say it that way. And figure out, hey, what can I do to be that elite level?
To better myself.
You know what I mean? And investing in yourself to do that will only enhance. Go to these storm spotters, get your certification, go to Heg. Different things that it was free. I mean, it cost me 3 hours of my time.
No, that's badass. I would have done it too. That's really cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just different things like that if you start investing in yourself now, 25 years from now, where will you be?
Yep.
So I don't know, man. It's just passion. I love this industry, and I don't know. Someday when I'm out of this industry, I don't know if I'm going to ever be able to get out of this industry.
Oh, there's so many avenues you can go down too. That's the beauty of it. I'm going to die in the industry. I know that. I'm not leaving. Yeah, it's too fun. It's too fun. But yeah, it's at our time mark. Unfortunately, I hate ending these things because
we could have gone for hours.
Yeah, I know, and I always feel like it really takes like 45 minutes to really get a guest going. Yeah. And then once you're in the sweet spot of it, it's like, oh man, this is good content. Yeah,
I get it. Well, I appreciate having us on, man.
I said, also, it's like 80 degrees in here.
That's pretty warm.
Yeah.
It could be a thing. Like they have hot, where you go, Hot Works, where you go and work out and it's super hot.
Hot yoga or something, it's hot podcast.
Yes, it could be a thing. Bring your towel.
In the sauna?
Bring your towel, because you could sweat the truth out of people.
Well, we can get in here like Winnie the Pooh then. We could do the Winnie the Pooh thing.
Pooh Bear, never a good look. Never a good look.
You sure?
I'm sure. I speak for all womenkind. Winnie the Pooh is not a good look.
You don't think we should have sales reps selling in their underwear?
I think we should not.
Well, I think the next time we do the podcast, we just, it's just us, the boys, and we Winnie the Pooh it up.
Yes, I would like to not be in any. I don't want to be near that.
We might get some views on YouTube on that.
Oh, bro, I have some. Well, we'll talk about it off camera, but I have some ideas for that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, man.
No, dude, it was a pleasure's all mine, dude. Honestly, you guys are doing amazing things, and that's awesome to see.
Cool.
Yeah. And for everybody watching, follow them. Dan Walrack, Go Beyond the Hustle. Tiffany Walrack, she's got some great podcasts with people in the industry she's done, doing big things, doing amazing things. That's what it's all about. And for everybody listening, I'll see you guys on the next one.